Welcome back. Part 2, our final part. We finished the book, Salem's Lot.
We did. It's been a minute since we recorded.
Yeah, in real world, it's been a little while, probably more than a week. But we'll get these coming out to you guys pretty close after. Spoilers, of course, for everything.
She's officially... Okay. I had a theory.
She had a theory.
It has crashed against the rocks.
She has been boulder dashed. Go ahead.
Basically. No, it just didn't work. I was wrong. I confused people. Because there's a giant list of people. There's a whole town to keep track of here.
Tell them your cool theory. It was cool, at least, when I heard it.
My theory was that someone had been turned into a vampire and had been interviewed by a reporter.
Mm-hmm.
It was specifically at Mabel Wirtz.
Yeah, the nosy one with the old lady
one with
with
the binoculars. I feel
Yeah.
bad. She's just a very large lady with binoculars.
Oh, that's true.
And
She is.
she's the one that sits on the phones.
Yeah,
And
the party
listens to
line.
all the gossip, and then of course everyone's like, "Oh, who'd you hear from? Mabel Wirtz?" I'm like, "No shit, you got nothing else to do."
Yeah. So you thought that in the opening of the book, where we hear the fates of everybody in the town, and that it's a ghost town.
I mixed her up with Miss Curless,
Yeah.
who does survive.
Mm-hmm.
But Mabel Wirtz is on the list of people that they would like to hear from.
Yeah.
I just realized that the people that are investigating this town and all its people that disappeared, they're like, yeah, when people move, they sometimes forget to put forwarding addresses, so it's easy to lose track of them. Like a whole town.
Yeah. Everybody at
It's
once.
still like 1,300 people. It's not like it was 5 people.
Yeah. I love the
of
theme.
those 1,300, you all found 3.
Yeah. The overall theme that I love that he plays with here, that you get in that opening thing, the little letter, the spooky newspaper story.
Spooky.
It's that there's just so many small towns all across the United States, but the planet. Like, how many random werewolf vampire towns could be all throughout the world that are just being devoured? What's up?
I just wanted to let people know it's on, chapter 3?
Chapter 3, but the book is funny with their chapter
Ghost Town in Maine.
Part 1, yeah. Yeah, the very beginning when it gets in everything.
Yeah.
Which was the funny thing that I love about Stephen King. Like, I don't care about spoilers. Because in the beginning, it tells you everybody's gone, which means
tells you who, if you're like me and you want to keep track, it definitely preps you for who's gonna make it and who's suspect.
Yeah, which is how you spawned my theory. I was wondering, it hit me. I thought I was sure. It was kind of funny how I was like, oh man, that the writer and the kid were gonna be vampires. We're gonna be like the next Barlow. I thought they became vampires and moved on.
I did not think that at all.
Really? Yeah.
Nope.
Because we open with them in Mexico.
Because they literally are doing things in daylight.
Yeah,
and
no, I'm saying...
they can go in church.
Yeah. At the end. Well, all right, let's just lead into that. Like I said, spoilers for everything. We're going to be jumping around.
Yeah, we're just going to...
Book Club Live.
I think in quick summary, this book was, I think, a lot of fun to read. It definitely... It gets chaotic because at some point, it's just the entire town...
Yes.
It starts with just a couple people being vampires, but then they make think every night it doubles. So it very quickly the town gets sucked into vampire.
Yeah, just like the number. You ever seen exponentiate? 2 makes 4, but then 4 makes 8.
Yeah.
So
and they're
look at all these characters. People watching on the screen. You can just scroll forever because there's so many characters. To be fair, it's small minor characters too. But there really are a lot of characters.
There really are a lot of characters. There's whole families, and they're oh yeah, and our neighbors over there, and so this whole town gets kind of eaten up within a matter of honestly days.
I know, yeah. I think it's days. It feels like days.
It feels like it is days.
Yeah.
There's some craziness. A couple people die. We have basically our Ghostbuster team.
the SNL character he's so, yeah, I have cigarette. More people died. I go out. Yes, we do 1 hour work, 2 hour work. More people die.
Basically,
a vampire.
Our
crazy.
Ghostbuster team gets broken up, and we end up from a tally number of. Because all right, the main team ends up being the writer, his girlfriend, this kid, Mark Petrie that we meet.
Yeah. Our shining guy.
The teacher.
Yeah. And he just dies of a heart attack, right?
Yeah, he just dies of a heart attack.
Yeah. He's literally the meme. He just fucking died.
Bye.
All right, I'm overwhelmed. I'm out.
That literally is what happens.
Yeah.
His heart literally gives out.
Mm-hmm.
And the other person is the doctor, the teacher's doctor, who happened to have been one of his students, who is like more open-minded, and he's been seeing all these patients, and he knows something is off, and then all these bodies disappear, and because he's one of the 2 doctors that they have in this town, so he's kind of in the like loop, and he knows these bodies are missing, and it's really suspect, and nobody steals bodies in this town.
Rule of thumb, when
and the mortician goes missing,
and then the bodies disappear, just leave.
And he's read a lot of, like, he used to read, I guess, stuff like vampire stuff.
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, it's vampires.
It's very meta. There's so many, like, the kid knows about this shit from reading vampire stories.
The kid's also obsessed. The kid's obsessed with, like, he has all these little monster dioramas.
Yeah. Which was a cool thing that I was saying Danny from The Shining had as well.
Yeah, the little monster truck.
Yeah, so there's a funny little...
It was literally a monster truck, or it was a VW with the little monster guy sticking out of it.
Yeah. Multiple.
That was cute. We owned it at the same time.
Yeah, we're kind of, at this point.
Like married or something.
At this point. Yeah, I like The Shining more than this. You said you like this one more, actually. I agree. It's definitely a fun read and all that.
I think I enjoyed this. The Shining was, I think, more jarring or more unsettling.
More scary, more...
Yeah. This one, I think, was more fun, although you are left with, like, a giant cliffhanger.
What? Because, well...
Oh, I forgot. The other guy that was part of our crew was the priest, the Catholic priest.
Yeah, that's
Father
a huge
Callahan.
one. What book did you say you're supposed to read?
So, I looked it up. So, one of the things that happens is that Father Callahan is forced to drink Barlow's blood. He basically... there's this huge interaction between him and Barlow. Cause
I'm going to use that when I get in a bar fight. I had a huge interaction last night. Timelines shifted.
Okay, because him and Mark split off, even though the teacher was like, don't ever split off. Him and Mark split off.
A cosmic fucking shattering event. Go ahead.
Him and Mark, the kid, split off to go get his parents because Barlow has left them a note. They snuck into the Marston house, and they found a note that said that basically he's going to seek revenge on the kid.
Yeah. And
he's going to turn the entire town into vampires, and he hates all of them, and suck my cock, na boo boo, you didn't catch me.
And he wrote moo ha 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 ha.
Yeah, moo ha 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 ha
blah blah blah. At the end, I was like, that's a little out of character.
That really kind of was the letter in summary. It was mocking.
Yeah.
Like it definitely was mocking them.
It was far darker. He's like, I'm gonna kill your parents.
Yeah.
Make you watch and kill your town.
It was a very dark letter, but.
Yeah, but we had to cope somehow.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. So, the kid and Father Callahan run to his house, and they're going to convince his parents to come to the hospital with them. Because the hospital's technically not, like, in the town. I think it's in...
Oh, my God. Yeah, we got that. You just reminded me. But go ahead. Finish your thought there.
The hospital's, like, further away or whatever. So, they're going to convince them to come to the hospital, and they're all going to bunker down with the teacher and just fare the night out at the hospital and come back into town and kill vampires during the day. Wow, that's the plan.
Yeah.
They get there. It's starting to get dark. Barlow shows up. He literally takes his parents' heads and smashes them together so hard that they
described so
dead.
well. Yeah.
It was described
like they crunch. It's very good, Stevie Kingy.
It was scary. Yeah. Like that entire scene is scary. And then basically Father Callahan pulls out his
crucifix,
and it glows. And he's like, by the power of God, get back. I'm gonna protect this kid. Because Barlow's holding Mark, and so he tells, Barlow tells him, because he's holding the little kid by his throat, cast away your crucifix and fight me white magic to black magic.
Basically, yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, without your tech. It's cool. He literally, to the vampire's mind, the crucifix and the things of the church are literally technology. It's like a spirit technology.
So... he tells him to cast it away and have a fair fight with him.
Yeah,
and
like
he
put
says,
your gun
I'm not
down
going
and
to do that.
Fist fight.
Yeah.
Like, don't use a knife or some shit. Like,
and he's like, what do you think? I am retarded? You're not going to let the kid go, and you're just going to have the two of us if I do that. He's like, no, look. And he lets Mark go, and Mark literally runs off. Like, he runs away.
And so he's exposing the priest, the Christians, like, the vampire, the demon guy here, honored his word. He actually let his prisoner go.
Which
so really, you're not going to give up your cross?
Before this kind of happens, it's described that Callahan had the power to probably even expel him, to like tell him to leave.
Yeah, that he should have kept pushing through.
But he didn't keep pushing through, and then he started to falter. He hesitates, and he doesn't cast away the crucifix, and it starts to dim. And Barlow literally makes fun of him, and tells him that he's forgotten the old ways, and that you have something.
No. Yeah, sorry. I want to try and find it, but I didn't want to ruin your flow there, because he's referencing. I think King plays with this really well, especially if you're into any of the real metaphysics here, and do struggle with which religion's right, etc., etc. Because the vampire is scared of the Catholic technology of their stuff. But he also mentions that it's drawing from some even more primeval
you have to have
source.
Faith. I think he's definitely... Yeah. The way this works is that you have to have faith that your white... The white power works. Oh, I didn't... You made fun of me saying magic, so now it came out even worse. I quit.
Heard it here first, folks. Elise says the white power works.
It's only because you made fun of
What do we want?
Let me find where he said...
You mean...
He just says white versus black. He doesn't even say... any of the other words I've added to it.
The light side versus the dark side.
There you go. I actually prefer that.
Yes.
So
is George Lucas.
Callahan cried out on page let me take off my annotation so I give you the right page. 540.
540 coming up.
Right? Is it? Yeah, Callahan cried out miserably, the cry that had vibrated
stupid thing.
In the soul, but never the throat of the long ago child. Oh no, that's not it. Sorry.
It's okay. But because the proof, though.
There is no need for it. You have forgotten the doctrine of your own church, is it not so? The cross, the bread and the wine, the confessional, only symbols. Without faith, the cross is only wood, the bread baked wheat, the wine sour grapes. If you had cast the cross away, you should have beaten me another night. In a way, I hoped it might be so. It has been long since I have met an opponent of any real worth. The boy makes 10 of you, false priest.
So let me pause. You would have beaten me another night, I think, is crucial, because Barlow's not stupid. He wouldn't have fought him. It's not like, let's do a fair fight and duke it out. It's like, no. As soon as I get punched in the face and realize, oh shit, I'm not going to win, I'm going to leave. I'm not actually going to duke it out. So he can't he can't devour somebody who is full of faith, who is emanating.
They're going to be protected.
But
especially
not,
someone like a priest.
Because over here, you get tricked into, funny enough, the sad part of the tech, it seems, in this, is that you get tricked into thinking that the power comes from the cross. But to be fair, it's not like they were glowing. The priest isn't glowing like a Super Saiyan. It's coming off of the cross. So, it's not stupid of him to think the cross has the power.
But is it only because they, as people,
because they put it into it?
They for whatever reason, they're not able to just believe or have faith that they are protected, and they have to put this faith into an item that will do the protecting, but they believe in that item so much.
But I think that's why it's important that everything from Buddhist depictions to Christian depiction, the halo is on you. It's not on your stuff. It's on your head. It's emanating from you, not from this thing. So that's what Barlow's trying to get out of him. It's funny, playing a very good role of black versus white.
That's why he calls him false priest, because
it's not emanating from him.
When you watch things like The Exorcist and stuff, it's not like they're walking around like the crosses. They know you can pray, you can as long as you have faith.
It's just it's cool. One, for obviously King's real world. He's not like some super Christian guy. I
really haven't watched The Exorcist, by the way. I don't know.
I guess
I just meant
think of ghost shows
types,
and stuff. Stuff we've watched. But you could easily have a Buddhist monk
Shout out
exorcist.
To Zach Baggins.
Really. But you could have a Buddhist monk kicking out, doing exorcisms with the same shit, and some little beads or something are super. Oh my God, they're glowing, and it's like, oh, you fool. They're just fucking beads. So I get that's the idea. Did you find where he says like it's something primeval? He was saying that it comes from some. I thought it's in the same conversation
It is.
because
He literally mocks him. I forgot, by the way. Shout out to Mark the kid for spitting on him.
Oh yeah, that was epic as shit.
Because he kills his parents, and basically Mark's gonna run away, and he turns around, and before he runs off, he spits on him. Because Barlow's like, soon, little brother.
Mm-hmm.
Very soon now, you and I will, and he just spits on him.
Yeah,
like,
in the middle of his speech, this fucking action. Oh my god. So have you been bombarded by stupid ass memes of people that making fun of the?
No, I don't know this meme.
Oh my god.
I only know the sound, like, because you brought it up.
Yeah.
But I really don't know this meme
fall
enough
of
to
the
know what
West.
I've just.
The fucking rapidly crumbling IQ from the Hawk Tour. Anyways, so the kid here, but that's what he means by he could only do that if he genuinely didn't. He was not scared at all of this guy. He didn't give a shit. So in a way, he's actually showing super faith. Whereas the priest ends up getting a little scared. He's like, really? Because even in this conversation, you see over here, you got it highlighted, the cross's glow was dying, like in the middle of this. Which, to the writing point, that made it so tense. Because you kind of are like, wait, I mean, they can't lose if they got the magical amulets.
But then it's like dimming.
Mm-hmm.
Because it literally goes from this thing being so bright.
Yeah.
That it like.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see how bright it's just described as lighting everything up. It's
yeah,
like
you got the
beacon.
glow in the crosses, thin and guttering. Oh yeah, where the shadows start to come out when it starts to get weaker.
Yeah.
And the fact, this is crazy important. Thank you for highlighting this. The closet door slid open a crack. That the kid was attacked. No, the priest.
Callahan,
sorry, the priest was attacked
priest.
in his youth, from a creature. A thin white face and burning eyes of Mr. Flip is what he called this creature that would haunt him as a
closet.
Kid. Yeah, and here again out of the closet, staring over Mark's shoulder with his clown white face and red glowing eyes and red sensual lips. So I think the crossover in the King verse here, Stephen King universe, like that's like the It clown.
Yeah, a little bit.
And the idea that these little monsters are everywhere. There was even a line in here about the loony bin house that like Danny was worried about from The Shining. And I'm so glad I didn't forget that random kid that pops up to help the people in the...
Yeah, it's
never explained, right?
Because Mark doesn't mention that he saw anyone come in. Basically, they're at the hospital. This is after... This is as this is happening, literally as this is happening, because Barlow, like, tells Callahan, "Don't worry, I have someone going after the rest of your little crew anyway," and so he has sent, the Susan's mother, who's been turned into a vampire by Susan, off to the hospital, or she's not been turned. I don't know if she's been turned into a vampire. Or she's just at a point where she's just controllable. Mm-hmm. But he basically sends her, and she's holding a gun, and she walks into the hospital, and she's going to go into the hospital room where the teacher's at, and where the writer is, Ben Mears, and where I think Cody, the doctor at the time, is there too, and he's gonna go in there, and she's gonna shoot them. Yeah. And basically, this little boy tells this random guy walking in there, "Oh man, some lady just walked in there with a gun." Yeah.
He alerts them to the fact, like without that, she would have killed him.
But it's not clear who this little boy is. It does go to the next chapter where Mark is running in, and he's in a daze, and he had like hitchhiked there. He doesn't remember getting there, so it could potentially have been Mark, and he doesn't even remember it happening. Yeah. Like it didn't even register. He's just like, ah man. But it's kind of also like the guy was walking into the hospital, and it seems like the kid was coming out. So I don't think it was Mark.
No, I think it's a third.
Yeah, it's just some
mystical
other mystical
Flash. Which it's Danny in his youth. Flash from the future.
This is a little bit of a spoiler, but what happens is Callahan drinks Barlow's blood, and then he's basically sent off into the wilderness.
Oh, can I read you the quote? I'm literally looking at it. Come, false priest, learn of true religion, take my communion. Understanding washed over Callahan in a ghastly flood.
So he drinks, and he basically becomes like a tainted, he calls it.
Mm-hmm.
And he tries to go into the church to like wash it away.
Yeah.
And he literally can't open the door. The door, like, he gets burnt and he gets like thrown back.
Almost like lightning explosion.
Yeah. Like,
so much so that when they go to the church,
the door is actually just the handle's messed up.
Yeah, they can see that it was like,
it's like
melted.
charred
and
melted.
Charged, yeah.
And so Callahan gets on a bus because he's like, screw this. I am tainted. He knows he can maybe be weaponized against his own team.
Yeah.
So he basically hops on a bus and leaves to New York.
Mm-hmm.
He becomes a loose end because at the end of all of this, the big spoiler is that Barlow dies.
Yeah.
But Callahan is still out there under the magic of this now dark force that exists in the Stephen King universe.
This is where I was picturing he would go. The St. Patrick's Cathedral, the big main one here.
A couple things.
Yeah.
As a Catholic priest, why didn't he just write to another Catholic priest and be like, hey, I was forced to drink a vampire's blood. I done messed up. Can you help me?
Yeah.
I know I can't go into the church, but can you do any research to help get me back?
Yeah, call the Pope.
Also, my entire town has been eaten by vampires.
Mamma mia.
So we should probably tell the Pope.
Yeah.
Because I guess from watching some of this exorcism stuff, there is like still
there's
a
definitely
tight-knit
a
network of priests that are exorcising demons and stuff. So, like, it's kind of silly to think that he would be this Catholic priest
this isn't
and
the
not
70s.
know.
It's funny, Vatican.
They've been doing priest exorcism since the 80s only.
Yeah, but the hippies fucked it up. It's a simple way to word it, but Vatican II, all the Catholics get mad at. I mean, I agree with them, consistency wise. But 65, yeah. So this is only like a decade after that. I'm saying your system that you're describing is still in place because Vatican II is still in place. But I'm saying, yeah, you do have a secularism that he was. I was like, King really did study this, or like was drinking buddies with a Catholic priest or something.
I know, but I just feel like if I was a Catholic priest, I'd probably be like, I know that this don't exist anymore, but I bet if I were to tell one of them that I'm a sane person and my town has been eaten by vampires and like have them go out there and them see that the town's literally
looks like
a ghost town, and there's literally places where there's like stuff mid happening, like
you could
there's
just
cash
see it
registers open with money but no money's been taken, food placed on tables, like.
But look, to act like the dark side doesn't have funny rules and mess with your logic, like why didn't he just phone call a million newspaper stations or the police state? You could fake things.
None of those people could do it.
There's terrorists.
You'd just be feeding
shooting people over here.
You'd just be feeding people to vampires.
Yeah, but there would still be that chain of command. I mean, it sucks. You would be feeding the vampires a little bit, but if I called a neighbor town, like a big town, like you said, Boston or New York reporters, and you had people.
I don't know. None of them got the.
But I think I agree with him. Look, it was only 2 hours to get to New York. All he has to do is go to St. Patrick's Cathedral. It's in the middle of fucking New York. He has to touch something during mass. He gets blown away. He would. It's one of my critiques actually on the other channel of like these exorcists that think this is all real. Why don't they just record it and all this shit? It's like if you really are trying to combat it, I find all their objections lame. But I think that's what he's doing in some way.
Well, it turns out.
Oh, because in the other book?
No, I don't know what happens.
Okay.
Shout out to the Reddit people that didn't actually spoil it.
Yeah.
But some of these loose ends are tied in what they call, Stephen King calls like the Tower series or something.
Okay.
So in these books, it's a series of like 7 books, but in one of them, you actually meet Callahan.
Okay.
And so that's the most spoiler I got from the Reddit thread, which is why shout out to all y'all.
Yeah.
I don't remember any of y'all's names. But they basically were like, yeah, if you want to know what happens, but you don't want to just have the spoiler, you want to get like the whole story. That's the book. I think it was like book 5 or something.
Jesus. Okie dokie. Don't put it past King.
So I was like, oh, there's a loose end here, but it's been tied supposedly.
I would argue, well then, I don't know. It makes you think he's not a vampire, although of course it could be immortal. So
I don't know what he is. I don't think he's a vampire.
But for some reason I lean more towards
because he's also able
somehow
to walk around during the day and stuff.
But there's no cure for it.
Is he like that guy that was with Barlow originally?
But I don't think it kicks in. You know, you get that whole dynamic here where you're fine for a couple days. You just feel sick and weird.
But Barlow, so it was Barlow and the other guy, Straker.
Yeah.
And Straker was a person, they called him a familiar. He was able to do things during the day. He was
Straker is dead, so yeah.
He's dead, so did Barlow just replace Callahan?
Yeah, with a Catholic priest really showing off, like, his true religion, as it says here, which I don't know what to make of that, I gotta say, unless he just means power. Just willpower. Just like, you could see Jesus made himself a god, like, through, like, we all have spirits, bodies, and
it makes me think that it's just whatever dark force he feeds off of, like the dark side. Or
because it's not, I would say it's not just him. It really is like the light and dark side from Star Wars. Like, it really does seem like he knows that Callahan is just a force worshipping, religion, basically. It's not Catholicism's the only way, but it's
light side,
but it is aligned with the white, with the light side.
He was a light side,
like faction,
but he didn't know the true power of the light side.
Yeah, or that this came from a source, and so you could have a million different types of Satanists. Some modern Satanist or an ancient person sacrificing humans. That's a dark side thing. So that's what his true religion is, I guess. I think he gets somehow redeemed, and I think the easiest way to do it would be to go to the Catholic Church. Like, hi guys, watch this. When I touch the fucking doors, I fly. The ethereal light explodes, and I fly through the air. Make a public display of some sort, and then he gets healed, and then it's cool because you hear about these miracle stories and most people just don't care because it's not recorded. But since this would happen in the 70s, there's no smartphones and all that, so it would go down as one of these. There's tons of stories like this in real world, Catholicism, saint stories and mystical stories. Even the one Callahan tells about that weird story, he went to that funeral. Where was he? He was in Ireland, right? Actually, wasn't he in? He went somewhere. I forgot where he went. And the locals thought that it was a vampire. He thought it was like gruesome.
No, it wasn't Callahan. It was someone that Callahan knew that was over there. Yeah. Stationed over there.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I said station, but he basically was over there.
They're fighting demons.
And he got to witness a funeral where they believed she had been bit by a vampire, so they buried her like facing down, or they stuffed her mouth with like garlic.
Yeah. Creepy. Very creepy. What? You're just distracted by our cat.
No, do you think he's gonna wake her up, run around?
Oh shit. No, I doubt it.
Okay.
We do got the baby monitor right over here, but we're looking good for now. Yeah. And then what's his name? But you don't think that he got turned into a vampire, right? At the end.
Who?
Our main guy, our writer boy.
No. Why would he be a vampire?
But there was a line that I wanted to get your opinion on, where he looks in the mirror and he says like he would never be able to look at himself again. Oh my God, we gotta come back.
Because he's killing people.
Hey, I think he just feels like he's.
And it's not like, so it's described that when you put the stake through these creatures, they like writhe and they freak out and they feel pain, and it's not like like you just put the snake in the stake. It's not like you put the stake in their chest and it just goes away. Like, you have to hammer the stake in multiple times because it is still like a human body.
Yeah.
And then as you're doing it, they're just like writhing in pain and pinned in place and like freaking out.
Yeah. So he's just.
That's what I think, but I mean, we can try to find the line.
We could try. I'll look for that, but instead, I just came across this. I don't want to lose one of my favorite weird things to like about all this story is that the main cop. Remember when we first started?
Oh yeah.
I literally told her because I'm listening to an audiobook, so I'm like, I love the trope. I know it's fucking beat to death, but of a cop that doesn't really care, but he can't be that lazy. Like Barlow is so obviously weird.
I actually think this cop. I was like,
but then he checks out, because he does get involved. He does become a reluctant, really good detective, and then he finally goes, "Fuck this."
There's very few people.
Is too creepy.
It's him.
I'm out of here.
The Pauline lady that runs the cafe, and that has the Cocker Spaniel.
Oh yeah. She doesn't want him to
they're
get harpooned.
two of the people that, like, she mentions, if you were like created, like if you were I forgot what it is, but basically like if you're creative, or like if you're like some
If you're
people
an
would
empath?
suspect that no like I
Oh,
guess,
okay, yeah.
like some, if you're kind of, if people would think me crazy, but I kind of suspect something is going on, and I'm gonna lock my doors and get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
And she was Catholic. She had the little Catholic symbol
Hmm.
of, I think, Saint Christopher around
Yeah,
her neck.
they all got St. Christopher. I don't know what's up with Stephen King and that.
Maybe he was bad. Like,
Yeah,
maybe
that's
they
his
communicating
saint,
with
maybe.
them. Maybe.
Yeah.
I doubt it. But and then Parkins just kind of be looking at everybody like something is going on.
Yeah.
So he basically, literally, there's like one night where it's just freaking chaos. It's where they kill the really mean bus driver, which was a creepy scene because, and you do get that overlap because that night the vampire kids went into the bus and they smashed a bunch of windows to get in, and then they were like laying on the horn, and he goes out there to like beat the shit out of them, and they all turn around, they just like jump on him, and they all basically like either suck his blood or kill him. I don't know what they do. But then you basically fast forward through some of the night, and you get to Parkins, the police chief guy, and they go to talk to him, and he's like, that night there was giant pieces of the night where there was honking, like, which is from the bus.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like,
that scene was nuts.
That's where you get that overlap. He literally heard them honking, and then the honking just stops.
Yeah.
And he heard like footsteps and people, like someone running down the street.
Otto. That's what I was thinking of. I just pictured him as Otto. Not that Otto was mean, but that whole scene where he's getting murdered by the kids.
No, I don't picture him as Otto at all.
Like, the bus driver was nasty and not cool, right?
Yeah, no, he was cranky and mean. And like,
so I feel bad. And Otto's great. But for some reason, I just pictured Otto being attacked by kids. There might be a scene in one of the Simpsons Halloweens. We gotta play some of those. Side note, St. Christopher was 7 feet 7 inches. I don't know where they're getting that from, or how they could know that, but that's hilarious. He's a giant Nephilim spin-off.
Yeah, we never
Gnostic.
see this. The lady that runs the little bus thing, that cashier lady, we never see her again.
You know, my favorite, and it was such a cool abrupt break that King is great at doing too, where they go and they're going to do this whole reveal and they think they're going to be seen as crazy people, but he literally says, in the audiobook, guy's great, so he goes, that's so? He goes, Parkins said with no particular surprise, vampire, ain't he? Just like all them comic books they used to put out 20 years ago. Like, he's just an old timer, like, I'm leaving town. And he gives them all the guns. He's like, take what you want.
Yeah.
I don't know. Have
And
fun fighting vampies.
Nolly, the guy that you always thought was kind of like
Yeah.
simple, but yeah, he's like a good kid. He bought a riot gun.
Yeah. Which, I don't know what that means back then. They got this amazing little dude. They got like a 22 automatic thing with a drum. Yeah. The American 180. Yeah. That's funny. It could have been used by them. That is what they could have meant. And that would be great for... Well, it wouldn't be great. Yeah, somebody gets shot. Yeah, that one guy gets shot with the shotgun. The cable worker guy. He shoots the...
Oh, the telephone guy gets shot. So the telephone guy that got caught with Miss Sawyer, he comes back as a vampire. And it's so creepy because I don't know, I pictured like just horrible, because it says it's described as knocking on the door that's like nonstop but not necessarily rhythmic. Like it just
boom 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 boom
like,
boom 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 boom.
Yeah.
Like there's no beat to it.
Yeah,
it's not boom.
It's
boom.
just, so he basically tells him, "Oh, come on in." I'm like, "Why would you do that?"
I know, right? When he said "come on,"
and
in,
the door was
amazing.
unlocked, so clearly this creature
It could have, but they can't break the vampy rules. But he hits him with the shotgun. I was just saying, it's cool to see like the vampire rules
and
with a shot 12 gauge shotgun, probably, and nothing. It burns away his clothes and all that.
A double barrel shotgun.
See? Yeah. What were we getting at? We were getting at some other thingy though? Oh, about him in the mirror. About if he was gonna be a bad guy. Yeah, here you go. Sorry, just to our...
It was forced.
Look, yeah, here we go. What is this from? When he actually kills him, duh.
Yeah.
When he actually kills Barlow. I love how we talk about every other freaking scene but that. He was a man taken over, possessed, and Mark saw without knowing or having to know that the possession was not in the least Christian. The good was more elemental, less refined. It was ore, like something coughed up out of the ground in naked chunks. There was nothing finished about it. It was force, it was power, it was whatever moved the greatest wheels of the universe. So, you got your Dharma wheels, and you got
Oh, that was actually, this isn't when he kills Barlow. This is that lock. So in preparation...
Yeah, to get down into there. The cold blue fire crept into the axe handle and into his arm.
In order to prepare to go fight Barlow, basically, because what happened is that Ben Mears, the doctor, and Mark Petrie...
He literally calls it here, the feeling of inevitable rightness of whiteness. I'm like,
yeah.
Well, way to get canceled, Mr. King.
He didn't know back when he wrote this.
He was progressive, he swears.
But what had
never
happened...
progressive enough, folks.
...was... The boy and the doctor were going to go around and start marking houses that had vampires in them so that they could use the stakes that Ben Mears was making to go kill them. And the goal is to find Barlow. They suspect that Barlow is at a school because when...
This was great. I love that part.
The what?
The whole deductive reasoning, the whole like getting you hyped up. I'm like, oh shit, they got him.
They get you hyped up because... When the boy was being held by his throat by Barlow, he saw that Barlow had like blue chalk at the tips of his fingers. So they all thought the only place that has chalk nearby is the schools. The high school only has yellow and white chalk because our teacher's been working there. He's literally tenure or something.
Yeah, like who knows?
Like I think it's like 20 years he's been working at that school.
Yeah.
He knows the only colors that they carry are blue, white, and yellow. And even like the art classes, they do graphic design because it's a high school. So they don't really do like coloring. And then the only school left would be the elementary school, which technically is an old building where the second and third floor have been boarded up and are no longer used because they're phasing the building out. Yeah. A little suspect, a little on the nose because, I mean, there's still kids going there every day. Building's being used all the time.
But it would be good and creepy. I was really visualizing, oh shit, this fight's going to go down at a school, at an elementary school. And it is already
boarded up. So the plan was, we're going to wait until like 3 o'clock when the kids are out, and we're going to go sneak over to the school and sniff around and see if there's a vampire hanging out on the second floor.
Yeah, and of course this is happening in fall in the north. And I think
it also had a basement. So they were like, I mean, it's got options.
Yeah.
However, as they are going through and marking different houses that have vampires to go killing, they go by the house with the baby, which was so creepy.
Yeah. They would have 3 hours, by the way. I was just like, it was around this time of year, actually, in the book. Yeah. I think it's in November, technically. But
at 7, so they always describe 7 o'clock.
It's actual sunset, no more light. Yeah, that's cool.
So, because like 6:50.
That's right, it was 7:04 was one time, and then one time it was 7 exact. Yeah, that's cool.
So, as they're going around, the doctor and the kid are basically in houses finding all these sleeping vampires, which is so creepy because you're like, do they wake up? But none of them wake up.
Yeah.
And they actually pull one of them that's sleeping. They pull him out because basically that family that it was the 10-month-old baby that was getting beat. Yeah. He vampired his whole family.
Fucking insane.
So now they're a happy little vampire family sleeping under the house because it's a trailer.
Yeah.
I mean, they're happy now. Nobody's beating each other.
It is a very interesting to all you weirdos that want to become the Borg and live in your VR Matrix pod. That's vampirism. I mean, that's what a crazy cool point. All of this, it tricks you. You have a fear of death, and so because you don't believe in your own soul, and so you become a vampire. And of course, in the future, vampirism is going to be tech based, and so. Like, isn't it cool? Like, oh, humans are so afraid of death. It's like, oh, well, then just become a vampire. Vampires don't die.
Live forever.
The solution.
I'm gonna live
And they do feel
forever.
nice. He writes these cool parts where we do see them transition into vampireness and like that weird. I can't remember the exact part to look up what it would be, but can you remember like how did they word it? Like they even lose their memory. I feel, don't they? Don't they like? Because we were debating when in part one of
They
this,
become kind of.
if
So
they're just husks, like he literally remote controls them.
it's
But
strange.
there's a period where you're in
They-
between.
When they first become vampires, they're kind of retarded. Like, I sorry, I don't know, whatever.
It's
just slap a canceled on my
Yeah.
forehead and call it a day.
get out of here.
But basically, they don't like. One of the vampires shows up at another person's house naked. Another one had like their clothes on backwards or something. Like
Uh-huh.
they can
Yeah.
sort of know they're supposed to do shit, but
Mhm.
they don't know how even. So they just either do it wrong or they don't do it at all.
Mhm.
But then later, as you let them cook, right? Is it not?
You're watching pro vampire fucking TikToks, reels, Instagram.
But
Let
kind of
him cook.
like the longer they're around, the more cunning. Like one of them became smart enough to call someone out to his house.
Yeah.
And invite
And
them over for
obviously
like dinner or
Barlow's
something.
cunning, like
It was like one of his friends. He invites him over for dinner,
Mhm.
and the guy comes over and they eat him,
Yeah.
or they vampire him or whatever. So they start off stupid,
Which I always
but not really totally stupid because they're
No, of
also
course.
smart enough to like.
they're
Like,
they're
this guy went
mindless-ish.
back
They're
to-
scrambled.
And they do. So it's kind of cool because at some point, the town is really just people that don't have relatives or
Mm.
people that are single that are in the town that are not being turned into vampires at night.
Yeah, that was
because
amazing.
the
joke I was
vampires
saying.
feed off of people that they know or
Yeah.
are connected to. So, like, if you're married, you're going to go vampire your family at night.
Vampires hate Zoom.
And then the next day, they despise
and
Zoom.
robo girlfriends.
But like, I guess after you vampire your family, you're gonna spread out and you're gonna vampire your sister or your parents,
your extended
or,
family, your coworkers,
and then
whoever
they're
you-
gonna be. Eventually, you'll be vampiring your coworkers and
Mhm.
your, like Susan knocks on the window of Mark Petrie, but she knows him,
Yeah.
and so did Danny Glick.
Yeah.
And Danny Glick's been going around, just vampiring people he knows.
He got a killing spree. His Katie's nuts.
Yeah, Danny Glick was a problem.
So the dark side, and there's a famous Tolkien quote that people like, especially nowadays with all the remakes, and these people have no soul, and that's a bit mean. That's worse than what you said. They do have a soul, but it's been tainted from their hatred. But Tolkien's quote that darkness can't create, it can only corrupt, basically. And so that's the whole dynamic here. Whatever primordial source of good that gave rise to souls and people and goodness and procreation and making things, but the vampire consumes and destroys these things.
Yeah.
And
I don't know that
but
they
that's
can procreate other than sucking
they
blood
can only
and
procreate by
making
by
other
taking,
vampires.
by stealing, by
Yeah.
taking God's creation and corrupting it, by taking the light side's creation and then corrupting it, and he makes it into his army that serves him. So I think this is a great dynamic even at a political scale with like why you don't want one world government, one person in charge of the whole planet.
How did we end up on this?
Because I do think that's at the core of how Barlow's work. Because we were saying if they
Mm.
become mindless drones at first.
Okay.
And I'm like, well, it's a little bit of both because I guess you do want them to become autonomous. I guess that's my point. Do you think that they will become
Yes.
smart, but are they
Not
smart
Barlow
autonomous
level
people?
smart. No.
They're
no,
not autonomous, right?
still,
They're still under
because
Barlow.
they if not under Barlow, there must be a higher level
Under the
that
dark
they-
side, the evil one.
Yeah, because they are described as being all connected,
Mm-hmm.
and they all heed his or. So Barlow was the original him. Like,
Yeah.
oh, we do his bidding.
Yeah.
But once Barlow's killed, I don't know how that hierarchy works. Does another vampire become the Barlow, or
I think it's
do they just all automatically connect to the next, either the next vampire up,
Yeah.
or just directly to the dark side, and they just become like a problem, like or do they just
think
sit
it's
there like a
75,
Borg
yeah.
without any real direction anymore? Where
Yeah.
the only like a computer where like the only command left is to just survive.
Yeah.
Like it's not like they're smart enough to continue spreading. They're just gonna like, we just need to eat. They're just left to consume.
Yeah, but I don't think this is me inserting too much theology here. I think this is what King's stuff is basing it on. There's a light side and dark side forces. We know this from all the King books we've read so far. There's supernatural forces at every scale, and some people have this weird, they're born with it ability, like the shine. Some things happen to you, where when a mother has a kid, they get the shine. But I think it's funny, because this came out before Star Wars, but you could just think of it like Star Wars. That the dark side literally pours all of itself into one person. And that's, Sidious.
Yeah.
And it takes these different acolytes, these different underlings to serve it. So I think you could always wonder, like, what if fucking Sidious dies? Did you kill the dark side? And, like, I do think, actually, that's what they're going for. But that's a different tangent. But the point would be here, yes, somebody's going to become the vampire king, basically. Somebody's going to become the incarnation of the dark side's will. Even Barlow isn't fully autonomous in a sense. Because I think that's a beautiful way to view the light and dark side. Good, God gives you free will, and that sucks because that means you can fall to the dark side.
Yeah.
And the dark side is going to be cunning as shit. And what
is.
King plays with, it's not totally moral like we think of it. Like a lot of Christians, like, oh, they must have had it coming. You must have done something. It must have been your sin that fucked you up or something sometimes. Is what you hear. It's a bit
no, the fact that this book opens up with the first person killed is the dog.
Yeah. Dogs get killed. Little kids get killed.
The dog
infants.
is the first sacrifice. And then it's Danny Glick. And then it's the groundskeeper. And then...
So I don't...
Somewhere along the way, the 10-month-old...
I think people simplify it from all religions, but we're in Christian culture, like, oh, what did they do? Why did sin attack them? Either they're too good or they're too evil, and they brought it on themselves. It's like, no. King's universe is the bad guys just do shit to you.
Yeah.
Random cosmic evil, because he was inspired by Lovecraft.
So, just so you know, it's somewhat of a spoiler, but they do explore some of this also in Dr. Sleep.
Yeah.
There's a lot of...
I'm missing this. Like, it's crazy. I gotta get to this.
There's a lot of darkness in Dr. Sleep, too.
I technically remember main points. There's, like, a whole secret society of evildoers.
Yeah.
But that's... And my main point is that that's seen at a governmental level, where you don't trust the people, so you want to have one head. But because I think... this universe, King's universe, funny enough, is actually positive. There's a divine comedy. There are actually good endings. I'm saying, like, there's literally cosmic randomness and evil can happen to you. But if you believe in a soul, you're fine.
I would say this book kind of ends open-ended.
He kills all the vamps, no?
Not really.
In the town?
No. So, let's get back to the actual plot very quickly.
Okay.
Because what happens is... we're marking the houses. We mess around with one vampire, see that the light burns him, but we let him crawl back into his hole because we're going to use a stake to kill him. That's actually the dad of the baby. And then it occurs to the doctor, while they're doing all this shit, that the blue chalk is probably from a pool table. And then almost as if struck by the light side, he remembers like a quote from Ava Miller, who is the woman that runs the boarding house that Ben Mears lives in. Yeah. And she's the one that's got like not just the cellar, but her husband did like an extra cellar because she likes to do canned stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like
he dug it himself.
Yeah, kind of.
Is it? No, they said.
Yeah, right. He dug it himself. And so she tells him, I really ought to sell it before it gets mildew, but it was Ralph's, and it's Ralph's old. It's her ex-husband, it's her late husband's old pool table that's down in the cellar that she never sold because she didn't have the heart to do it. Yeah. So it occurs to him that they're probably at the boarding house. And so him and Mark Petrie decide that they're going to go investigate the boarding house by themselves. Yeah. This is the doctor. So... they go to the house, and everything looks fine. They open the cellar door. Everything is smelling like the Marston house, where they've really just the smell of death and decay, this weird vampire smell that hangs around. it's strong, and they're like, he's definitely in here.
Yeah.
So the doctor opens the door, and he starts going down the stairs, and he goes, ah! And he falls to his death.
Yeah.
Because they removed the stairs, but not just like at the top.
That part was corny. Go
They
ahead.
left like 2 steps.
Yeah,
so that,
which is clever. I like that part.
And the railing so that he would think it's there.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just falls, and they had taken all the kitchen knives and they put them in pieces of wood so that they stuck up, and he
so much work.
fell onto them.
I don't know why my brain was so stuck on this.
It's not just that it's so much work.
This is
A
such
part
an
of me was
odd
like,
way to kill
wouldn't you
somebody.
also okay, just
You're gonna fall on like your knees and shit, and you're gonna catch yourself, maybe, hopefully.
Well, not just that. It's kind of the physics of this, where I don't know if you've ever tried to put a tall thing on a flat thing.
Fall.
Like, it tends to fall. Like, they
But
even talk about how the
hammered it
kid's able
through.
to but the kid's able to kick them away.
Huh. Yeah.
Like, when he gets down
Yeah,
there,
that's right.
he's able to climb down there and then kick them away, kind of,
So weird.
because they don't get stabbed
It's
when they
like-
come back.
Yeah. Of all
So-
the booby traps, like Home Alone wasn't made yet, but
Yeah.
I'm sure there were booby traps.
But anyway, there's a booby trap. The doctor dies because he's
Mhm.
got literally like knives sticking into his gut, into his back, into I don't know how many places. He's
There was
been
a dog.
stabbed.
He's like, "You sure?" And the kid's like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
There was blood.
Yeah, basically the kid goes running back.
There was more blood than anyone could imagine.
And so, but at least now they know that he's there.
Yeah.
And so, in preparation to fight Barlow,
Mhm.
him and Ben Mears, they go to the Catholic Church. And it's cool. It's described as like these 2 angel statues like having a bunch of holy water.
Yeah.
And they just like dunk their hands, and they even put it on their faces. They just like basically bathe themselves in holy water.
Yeah.
And funny enough, Miss Carles, the priest,
Yeah, like housekeeper.
she's like, "What in God's name are you people doing?" And he's like, "We're gonna fight the evil that's in this town." And she's like, "Oh, well,
Yeah.
get to it already."
He's like, "I know it."
I
The
knew
rock
it.
and roll music and the communists.
Basically.
And everybody else.
So she's like, "Godspeed,
Yeah.
take them out."
Mm-hmm.
She sends them on their way. And so they show up, and they have like vials of holy water. They're basically ready. They are Van Helsing this shit up.
Mm-hmm. Literally, it's
And that's where you get the scene where, because they had put a padlock on the little cellar door
Mm-hmm.
that led to where Barlow was. And so Ben Mears just comes and like he's hammering away, and with like an axe that they find or something.
Yeah.
And it literally starts to glow, and he starts to like superhuman speed. And I have to admit, this is the only
blue
thing
fire. Yeah.
I was like, kind of the worst time to use all your superpowers.
Oh, I know, right? On the lock.
I felt like a D&D game where like
you rolled
all
20s
the players are like
and use all your special
they're
potions.
they're using all their special potions and shit to
Yeah.
get through the door. I'm like, it's a yell
You
lock.
mentioned somewhere
yo.
like a $5 lock is what's holding them back from killing the fucking incarnation of evil on Earth.
Yeah, I was like, yo,
Yeah.
if this was the D&D game, this would make sense.
Yeah. I want to read this part. The axe began to move at a nearly blinding speed. It became a ripple, a descending arc, a rainbow from over Ben's shoulder to the splintered wood of the final door. They blazed. He's literally channeling etheric light magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the whole scene. I mean, it was good, but I don't know what to add to the
Then
whole death
They basically. It is cool because there's like a time crunch. So like at this point, there's like 10 minutes or some shit before sunset,
scene.
and he like has to break through this freaking door. And
Yeah.
I think the kid like doesn't want to go, and he's like, "I need you." So they go in, and
Can I read this part? Or I want
No,
to read
go for
what
it.
Barlow
Read.
says. I think it's very cool and
oh
well
yeah,
written.
so Barlow's laying. They are able to basically get to him before sundown, and
yeah, with like 20 minutes to
he's
spare.
trying his best, because even in his in his I can't move state, if you look him in the eyes, he could probably take control over you.
Yeah,
So he's trying really hard.
but he's not talking, right? This is all
No,
telepathic,
this is like
basically.
through their mind.
Yeah, which I love.
See,
Everything.
a square light in the kitchen doorway had faded to thin purple. His watch said 6:51. Like, we got
yeah,
10
so 9
minutes to
minutes.
kill
Yeah,
the
not even-
boss.
Again, light side exists, dark side exists, and the mental realm exists, because every single one of these books from them, it has, well, The Shining and this, there's a whole stuff just inside your mind. But anyways, the whole thing. Well, I guess right here. Look upon Barlow, who has passed the centuries as you have passed hours before a fireplace with a book. Look and see the great creature of the night, whom you would slay with your miserable little stick. Look upon me, scribbler. I have written in human lives, and blood has been my ink. Look upon me in despair. I felt like he was stressing that he is a superior life form. Like I was saying, like with tech stuff, like this, you could make a sci-fi parallel in the future, like a robot. Like, I lived for 1,000 years, 10,000 years, 20, who knows? Like, why would you destroy me? I'm literally immortal.
For sure.
I've solved a lot of the issues you guys are worried about. Empathy, because when they transform too, they all feel like at peace, and they all feel connected. They're all one.
I admit I didn't get that vibe. I got more he's trying to get under his skin and really mess with his faith.
Yeah, that he can't do it. Who is he to do it?
Like that, which is.
I mean, he literally says, "Jimmy, I can't do it. It's too late. He's too strong for me." So that is the message he's trying to get across.
Like he's really just trying to, because I mean, imagine you're
2
Barlow.
minutes, by the way. I love a little detail that took 30 seconds to read, but it's 2 minutes of real time, like that little time.
And like this line after, like Mark groaned on the floor, Mama, where are you? My head hurts. It's dark, and like he's affecting them both.
Yeah.
And I just think, imagine being Barlow. You're stuck in because one of the rules for vampires, you literally can't move until the sun goes down.
Yeah.
So you're just sitting there looking up at these people, and they're about to kill you, and you're like, my last bet.
Yeah.
Is that I'm gonna scare the shit out of them.
In the game of the wills.
I'm gonna make it so that they don't have it in them to kill me, and then I'm gonna take them, and they're gonna be mine.
Like I said, it's cool. This came out before Star Wars. It's literally 6:55 now. Light and darkness hung perfectly balanced.
Yep.
Because neither one is winning. All it takes is a couple more minutes.
Yeah, because look, see, there.
A couple more dazzle from the
literally,
eyes.
there was a booming, triumphant laugh. Barlow was sitting up in his coffin, those red eyes flashing with hellish triumph. Because he's actually able to get up.
Yeah. Yeah, they locked with Ben's, and he felt will draining away from him. Yeah, it's just a battle for your willpower, folks. Yeah. Let me go, he yells. He brought the hammer down on the stake once more, and the blood that pulsed from Barlow's chest turned black. Then dissolution.
Yeah, because basically he's able to turn around. He needed to grab the freaking hammer, because in all of this he drops. He's like fumbling, but he's able to grab everything. Then as Barlow's basically sat up, and then he like basically turns around and pounces on his ass and like jumps into the coffin with them and just stakes him into the coffin.
Yeah.
But everybody else is awake too.
Yeah.
Because Barlow's surrounded by all of the other vampires.
Which was really done well. It didn't feel anticlimactic for some reason. Because he says over here, the holy water, he yelled into Mark's tormented face, they can't touch us. Yeah. So they're surrounded, but they're temporarily protected by these. But they
definitely have faith that they are protected.
It's just
and
cool.
It's cool. You did miss and then suddenly he felt the passage of something which buffeted past him like a strong wind, making him shudder. At the same instant, every window of Ava Miller's boarding house blew outward. Because literally the force of killing this.
Yeah, he instantly ages all that time. All that entropy just boom flashes out. He turns into a shriveled.
You first meet Barlow when he kills Quasimodo. His name was like Rudd or something.
Yeah, the
hunchback of the dump.
Of the dump.
And he's like an old man with gray hair. And then you meet him here, and he's this young man with black hair. So he's been like sucking the life force from all these people.
Yeah.
And getting young again.
Yeah. Yeah, which is, then he's all in a trance here.
Yeah.
But then you were saying at the end when he's just traumatized because he has to kill these guys. Which references like what he was just saying to the kid where he felt mean to him.
Which is the line that you're Were you able
I'm
to
trying
find
to
it?
see. I guess mirror. It should be towards the end of the book, and it mentions a mirror. I thought
Mirror, mirror on
the fact that he sees
wall.
himself in the mirror, I guess, disproves.
Yeah, you would not be a vampire.
Mm,
But it's cool. Basically we have the killing of the vampire. All the other vampires are sad. You killed the master, Ava said, and he could almost believe there was grief in her voice. How could you kill the master?
Yeah.
I'll be back, he told her, for all of you. So basically you have this promise that he's going to kill them. And he picks up poor little Marky boy and they run.
Can a bit of out of. I mean, this isn't a spoiler, but the Count Dracula, is that right? By Bram Stoker. Isn't that funny? I love the book. Is it just called Dracula or Count? Anyways, it's written in these kind of letters, just like Frankenstein was.
Oh.
So that might be a cool homage to that, with the how he's keeping track on what's happening up at Jerusalem's lot from all these different letters. That just popped in my head. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot they also got crosses. Oh yeah, here we have, I'll read you some of the parts where you kind of hear how some of these guys are just not, they're a little on the animal level. Glynis Mayberry called Mabel Wirtz, said she was frightened and asked if she could come over and spend the evening with her until her husband got back from Waterville. Mabel agreed with almost pitiful relief, and when she opened the door 10 minutes later, Glynis was standing there stark naked, her purse over her arm, grinning with huge ravenous scissors. Not the way you say that, I think.
Yeah, is that ravenous?
Mabel had time to scream, but only once. When Delbert Markley stepped out of his deserted tavern just after 8 o'clock, Carl Foreman and a grinning Homer McCaslin stepped out of the shadows and said they'd come for a drink. Milt Crossan was visited at his store just after closing time by a number of his most faithful customers and old croonies, and George Miller visited several of the high school boys who bought things at his store and always had looked at him with a mixture of scorn and knowledge, and his darkest fantasies were satisfied. I highlighted that because that was the guy in one of the lot chapters. He's the guy that lives above the store, and he puts on like panties and like jerks off in the mirror.
Yeah.
Is that not what happens?
It is what happens.
Oh boy. The town kept its secrets, and the Marston house brooded over it like a ruined king.
But why do you think that connects? His darkest fantasies were...
I don't know. I wanted to ask you what you thought. What's he doing to them little boys? It's so creepy that he's going to little boys, like high school boys specifically.
Yeah, because he's a vampire, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I guess just to take that, but it doesn't. They don't really have sex at time, right? These vampires.
I don't know, because they do mention it. It feels very.
Hey Ben, stop being scared. Come on, we read spooky stories. Look at him.
Ben, why are you being spooky?
Ben, come.
Come, Ben.
He literally just flipped up like he got poked by a vampire. Yeah, I mean, right? Because even our lady here, I feel so bad, got turned into, I forget her name, the vampire, our main lady here. I don't think
Susan?
she actually, yeah, Susan.
No, I mean, but even Ann Norton talks about like a climactic type pleasure from.
Oh yeah, from the drinking.
And you have like Barlow promising. Not just her, the telephone guy that goes to the Sawyer's house, he promises him that he's going to have everything he wants.
Yeah.
There is this concept of, like, there is some pleasure mixed into some of these.
From the vampire point of view, and that's why it's a great sorting test for people. Like, what do you not like about this? You live forever. You enjoy turning people into vampires. Like, every time you do it, you feel great. And you give them the gift of immortality. And all you got to give up is your freedom, and your mind, and your higher logos.
I did find this too. So, on page 635, because the day after they kill Barlow, because he leaves town, he drives the little boy to a random motel, and so he leaves him there, and he comes back to town the next day when there's daylight.
Yeah.
and he sees like I think the little store across from the cafe, a bunch of shit's closed. The cafe is closed. That lady was like, "I'm out, Dipset, goodbye. Y'all can figure yourselves out." So Ben goes to Ava's, and he's actually going to take symbolically his manuscript, which was on the Marston house, and he's going to basically set it on fire. And I believe he's gonna hope that this is just going to all catch fire and take that down,
like the
the
old
house
fire
down with
20
him.
years earlier.
Well, no, that's later. This is him just burning the boarding house.
Yeah.
But he does go down to the cellar. Or I don't know if he's trying to, or he's just burning just his papers. And he throws his snow globe, like that snow globe that was in Marston.
Yeah.
But on that section 5 on 635, he goes down to the cellar and he's looking at the coffin where Barlow was. The stake was in there and something else. He felt his gorge rise. Teeth, Barlow's teeth, all that was left of him. Ben reached down, picked them up, and they twisted in his hand like tiny white animals trying to come together and bite. So the teeth are still there.
Yeah, that's funny.
And they literally excite him. And they try, like, imagine like a cartoon, he picks him up and they turn around and try to like eat him, like nom 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 nom.
Yeah.
And so he just like
throws them. Shout out to
them.
King, that's just so weird, but I like it.
Yeah. He throws them and they kind of like scatter, and it's like hopefully the last of Barlow's magic being just
make sure you come back to the
wind.
whole Kane quote too from our guy there, Callahan, El Pristo. Because I guess I'll just say it now. The Mark of Cain. When that scene was so creepy. That's of all the big scenes. When he's buying his ticket to leave. Yeah, it's after Cain kills Abel and he gets punished and he gets sent out. Come on, where's the whole thing? Why is this hard to find?
I hate how many dogs they kill in this freaking...
I know, right? I guess, God puts his own... It says he engraved a letter of his, God's name, into his forehead, into Cain's forehead. But, come on. Where do you not have the whole thing here? Let's just go to Genesis 4:15. What is this? That's a strange way to do it. Behold, thou hast driven me out from this day, from the face of the earth, and I can't read this. We need some ESV, baby.
I haven't been able to find your mirror thing, by the way.
Yeah, don't worry. Maybe I misheard something. Because I looked for the mirror in the thing. I thought it was when he goes to the hotel. I thought he saw it. Anyways, the Lord said, "What have you done? Listen, your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. Now you are under a curse and driven from the ground, which opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. When you work the ground, it will no longer yield its crops for you. You will be a restless wanderer of the earth." Cain said to the Lord, "My punishment is more than I can bear. Today you are driving me from the land, and I will be hidden from your presence. I will be a restless wanderer on the earth, and whoever finds me will kill me." But the Lord said to him, "Not so. Anyone who kills Cain will suffer vengeance 7 times over." Then the Lord put a mark of Cain so that no one who found him would kill him. So Cain went out from the Lord's presence and lived in the land of Nod, east of Eden. So that's inspired so much speculation over 2,000 plus years. What the hell is that about? And that's why I think it plays with, and a lot of people do play with, like, what supernatural character, creature could Cain be? Cain is still walking the earth today, in theory.
That's
And
basically what happens
mentions.
to Callahan.
Yeah.
In a darker way, where like the vampires, no vampire will eat him. No.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's... Here you go. Where is it? Yeah, and then we get him... He just tells this after freaking this poor, like... I just picture, like, a high school, like, teenage, like, she's just a weird, odd job.
No, she's been working there forever, but, like, just imagine she's just... This has been her, like, she just sells the bus tickets and, like, candy.
I just pictured a kid at, like, a part-time, like, what the fuck, man?
Basically,
I'm trying to
it's still
close
that
shop.
vibe.
Yeah. And he says there, after reading all that, he reads her little part of that. He says, "That's scripture, Miss Coogan, the hardest scripture in the Bible." Because I've listened to a bunch of different interpretations on what to make of that. Some people think it's an even weirder curse, like God's actually being extra cursing Cain there. But I'm like, but he's responding to Cain saying that it's too hard. So it's like, Cain's like, oh, they're going to kill me. It's like, not so. So I'll put my name on your head so that they won't kill you. And so no one would ever,
Okay.
dare
They all
to...
know you're currently punished.
Yeah. Unless he's thinking kind of the early Gnostic Christians, like that it's the opposite. Maybe the god of that god is the evil source, and that's why it sent out the vampire. I don't know. And maybe that's what Callahan is thinking. I don't know. But then why would he go to the church? Unless King is playing with, he's gonna make a whole vampiric priest, undercover vampire priests using the global network of the priests of the Catholic Church. Curious, definitely. Things have gone bad in the lot now. But he tries to warn her. That's why I think he isn't fully converted here. I think he is still trying to be a good guy here. You don't think so? You think he's gonzo?
Who?
Callahan.
Callahan? I don't know that Callahan's gonzo.
I don't think so at
I
all,
think
because he's
he's
trying to warn
just-
her. He's telling her to leave. Like,
Yeah, he's not. He's just gonzo in that he knows he's probably not going to be able to be used as a tool right now. Like,
Yeah,
if
yeah,
anything,
fighting. He knows he can't fight Barlow, for
He's
sure.
a weak link.
Yeah,
like,
for
he
sure.
needs to get the fuck out because he doesn't know what they've done to him necessarily. He doesn't know what's going on. He knows he's got to figure his shit out, and if anything, he's a problem.
You said that's the Tower series, right?
Like, he's a danger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like a vector. Like, if you're not trying to get sick and somebody has a weak immune system, he has a weak immune system to
Yeah.
this vampire mind control ability. So he'll get everybody else infected. Yeah, and you said Tower series, right? Where
I
Callahan's
believe so.
shit picks up?
I can double check.
No, it's okay. I mean,
uh,
it's got to be it. You didn't make that up.
I just want to double check. Yeah, the Tower series, Stephen King, and I believe that Callahan was in book
Yeah, 5
numero
you said?
5.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I like it.
Wolves of the Calla. But it's not It's not Callahan.
Yeah, yeah.
One of the
right.
characters is called Calla,
Mm.
so that's kind of confusing for our sake because we don't know these characters in this other book. But
Yeah. The ending where he burns it all down, because I know you're saying whatever he was burning before you were talking about, but at the end, it's definitely mirroring the time the whole town burned down. But to be fair, as much as oh my God,
which,
was
by
it?
the way, that's that October 1972 to June 1975? Is that just how long the vampires had control of the town?
Maybe that would make sense because it came out. The book came out. Now, yeah. What does that mean? That's true.
That I wanted to ask you that.
Huh.
Because it is like 2 years, but I don't think it takes that long for them to go back.
I know math isn't your specialty.
Oh, 3 years.
You're technically right. It's not a full
Oh,
3 years.
I am right. Get out of here.
I
I know math isn't your specialty.
Yeah, really. It's literally 4 months short. Whatever. Yeah, I don't know, because it's with all these other writings, but he has writings from past it too. Because in this whole epilogue, it starts in November of '75.
That's why, and I know
I mean, it gets
they
out
don't
even
they
to
don't leave the town that long.
Yeah, see, it gets out into '76. So he's still tracking people, right? Like, you think he's still? I mean, there's a really cool element here. Like,
Yeah.
he's still being like a private investigator. He does not think this is solved.
No, because so that's what we get in the last of the book, where he basically tells Mark Petrie, we're gonna burn the town, and a lot of them aren't gonna be smart enough to hide anywhere that's not obvious, so we'll be able to find them.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're still looking for, I don't know, 1,300
I know,
vampires.
right?
Like, this isn't gonna be taken.
When he tries to tell them earlier before shit hits the fan, like, seriously, I want you to think about doing this for months on end, working 12-hour shifts, and you're mutilating human bodies of some of the people
Yeah.
you knew every single day for months, all day. Because that's what it's going to take out, like you said, 1,300-ish people. Kids, babies, old people, everything. So it was really cool detail. But you were saying that he thinks they're definitely going to miss some, and you only need one vampire to convert a whole goddamn town.
Yeah, because literally a ghost town. I'm trying to see in this last, because they're in the house. They're in those houses. Mark said tightly, right now in all those houses, behind the shades, in beds and closets and cellars, under the floors, hiding. Then he says they have their places. He said, but they could lose them. Mm-hmm. A lot of them could be killed or destroyed. That's a better word, but not all of them. Do you understand? Yes, Mark said. They're not very bright. If they lose their hiding places, they'll hide badly the second time. A couple of people just looking in obvious places could do well. Maybe it could be finished in Salem's lot by the time the first snow flew. Maybe it would never be finished, no guarantee, one way or the other. But without something to drive them out, to upset them, there would be no chance at all. Yes, it would be ugly and dangerous. I know that. But they say fire purifies, Ben said reflectively. Purification should count for something, don't you think? Yes, Mark said again.
Yeah.
Tonight, they won't be running sheep or visiting farms, Ben said softly. Tonight, they'll be on the run. And tomorrow, you and me, Mark said, and closed his fist. His face no longer pale, bright color glowed there. His eyes flashed.
Yeah, so they burned down. But my point, I guess, was that I don't think, as cool as it is to think, like, oh my god, this happened before with the fire back then. I'm like, no. Because it mentions that guy died of just a heart attack or something. He was like a really successful, like the town, they wouldn't know that it was started by the valedictorian and that he would go on to be a crazy successful stock trader.
No, and there's like, no, I don't think there's a connection. I would have to look deeper. I don't think there's a connection between the dates that the Marston house was owned by that other guy and the fire.
Yeah, the potentially pedo mafia guy.
Because I'm pretty sure that 1951, Ben was a young kid, and I don't think that the Marston house was... I think it was vacant because he was a child and he had to sneak in there and get a snow globe. So all of that had already happened. Mm-hmm. So there isn't any real way of connecting that fire to the weird vampire... Like the guy that...
with King, everything's connected, man. And it's no, I don't think so here, weirdly enough.
I mean, even if it is somehow connected,
in the general sense of darkness in his soul and all this, in mind, and the little petty evils, the little devils everywhere. But I'm like, no, it really was. But still, not loose end, but like, how did he get in contact from... He was in England, right, Barlow? And he gets in contact with the old owner of the Marston house?
So that's the only thing that I am unclear on. He somehow got in contact with him, and he was going to he basically set this town up where he was like, yo, I found a great place for you to come and hang out. And there's a chance, like, it's described that his wife begged him to put her out of her misery. Mm-hmm. So it makes me wonder if she was becoming a vamp. Like, what was happening? And I'm wondering if any of that's ever explored.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be interesting. How do you even search that?
What was his name? Hubie?
Yeah. It's spelled Hubby. Hubbie, I think. Because I don't...
Oh, okay. I think it's explored in the Tower series.
Okay. So we'll leave it. We'll get the
There
Tower.
might be a bunch of stuff in the Tower series.
Yeah. That's going to be something. At least 5 books. Interesting. Because on the metaphysics, does he pick it up? The Star Wars analogies work perfect here, funny enough. Can he sense dark side, like, rifts in the Force, like, at a distance? But I'm like, to be fair, this guy's a bad guy, but he doesn't seem like cosmically attracting a vampire bad. Like, there's random serial killers we know of that are way worse than this guy. Like, yeah, he's a pedophile and all this stuff, but I'm like, there's fucking registries. There's so many of those. Like, what did he do that's so uniquely evil that it attracted the embodiment of the dark side, the fucking Dracula? I don't know. Like I said, I might get exploring the Tower. What are you seeing? Too many spoilers?
No.
I mean, if they say it's in there, we'll get to it eventually.
Yeah.
Which is gonna be cool as hell. How many books? Let me look up how many books in the There's 9 in a children's book. This is the funniest title. The Dark Tower series by Stephen King has 8 novels, 1 novella, and a children's book.
Why?
We can read one for the baby. What does that mean? I gotta see the Dark Tower children's book. What? Children's book. Oh, I have heard of this.
Oh, I don't know.
That's so fucking dark. These people act like...
That's a kid's book?
But... Oh, but that's weird. Alright, maybe he's just saying like it counts as a part of it. Okay. Still, I've seen that. That's funny. What was I gonna say? The darkness. Jesus Christ. Did you know Stephen King said that he watched a childhood friend, they were playing in the backyard by a railroad, and he watched his friend get vaporized as a kid, and he never talked about it. Other adults said that
what?
He won't talk about it in interviews. I think he got pissed. I think somebody brought it up once. Childhood. So, yeah. When King was 4 years old, he visited a friend's house who lived near... 4, man, that's dark. Who lived near railroad tracks. An hour later, King returned looking pale and white and unable to speak. King's mother found that his young friend had been hit by a train while playing on the tracks.
Okay, no offense, but like, why are you letting your kids just run around?
I know. Wow.
Ridiculous. I don't know.
Yeah, that's right. This is the most important part. I forgot. He claims he has no memory of the event.
Yeah, because at 4, my body and conscious would
true.
also be like, yeah, I'm not keeping this shit.
But
that's terrifying.
yeah, and we haven't read this one, Stand By Me, but I guess he is talking about it here.
I don't know what that is.
For 10 years, my family lived in virtual barter existence, practically never seeing any hard cash. King recalled if we needed food, relatives bring a bag of groceries. Yeah, here you go. The event occurred when I was barely 4, King recounted. According to Mom, I had gone off to play at a neighbor's house, a house that was near a railroad line. About an hour after I left, I came back. She said, as white as a ghost, I would not speak for the rest of the day. I would not tell her why, and I had not waited to be picked up or phoned that I wanted to come home. I would not tell her why my chum's mom hadn't walked me back, but had allowed me to come home alone. It turned out that the kid I had been playing with had been run over by a freight train while playing on or crossing the tracks. My mom never knew if I had been near him when it happened, but I have no memory of the incident at all, only of having been told about it some years after the fact.
I just had a creepy thought.
Oh boy. Holy shit. Can I show you how long we've been together and married? I know exactly what your creepy thought is. Some other people might have been able to predict what it could be too. With a dark writer mind. King killed him.
He has no memory of it.
That is convenient. That is dark. I mean, it would fit into his mythos, and I believe that he's channeling and referencing how
this
the world really
works.
Right.
This is us. That
I don't think he killed him. I'm not accusing him of killing his friend.
This poor man, like at 4 years old, that's the most traumatizing thing to.
But I guess that's my point. Even if he literally pushed him, I'm not accusing him. He's fucking full.
Just writing wise, like.
I think King would appreciate. It's not insulting.
So sorry.
King would appreciate as a writer that your brain went there. As actually, the darker twist would be if a force possessed him, wiped his memory, like the way that so many of his own characters don't have memory of doing these things. This loss of time thing I was saying that's played with here, where a couple sentences apparently takes 2 minutes of your time, and we saw in The Shining, and when it gets worse, like you'll end up sitting there for 8 hours looking at a picture. And so in King's mind, like,
scary,
these cosmic
fairies.
entities manipulate you and the real world. Very terrifying. after this, we're reading, what you call it?
The Haunting.
The Haunting on Hill House, which inspired this. You know, the house is literally on a hill in this town, and there's actual references to it in this book.
I am excited to get into that, especially that it's officially spooky season at this point. We kind of jumped into some of these things ahead of spooky season, but now it is spooky season.
We are in October, folks. Hey, we want to read Dracula again. I mean, I've read it a bunch.
The speculation, by the way, is that Hubie was some kind of devil worshiper, child murderer, and basically Barlow was attracted to him. Yeah, and so he told him to go look for a supernatural interdimensional hole that's dark, and he found the house, or he basically turned the house into that for him. However the order of operations was. And then that literally him killing all these kids and being a crazy person it took such a toll on him and his wife that they killed each other basically, but like left. I actually think my theory would be that them killing each other was part of
the ritual.
The ritual, yeah. Like I honestly, I take it a step further.
Yeah, guys, come on.
Because I know she begged the husband, but God knows what they realized they got themselves into.
But it's also from a naive.
You
think begged means releasing them. Begged, please kill me because I want to be a part of this evil fucking black hole.
No, I actually wonder if she wanted out, but he knew, like, it's too late. We are one with the black hole now.
Yeah. I'm saying you could be begged to be killed because you want to be.
I know, but I actually don't think... I think the way it's kind of written, it's that...
Yeah, she's short-circuiting. She's losing her marbles.
She's losing her marbles, and he knew. Like, I think he was... Yeah. And I think at the end of the day, Barlow... That was what Barlow wanted. Like, the naivety is thinking that you're going to do all these things, and Barlow's going to give you some kind of power. And Barlow was really, like, having them set this trap so that the house would become this dark force that he would be able to feed off of. It would call him, like...
Yeah.
Who is this man that you've just brought onto the screen?
I didn't think it was this guy. I'm thinking of... There was a guy we saw on one of those Ghost Adventure things where he... he's a gay feller. And he would invite dudes that was really rich and shit. He would invite him up there. Remember, he'd strangle him in the pool. And then he buried him out back because he had land. He's in the middle of nowhere. And then when the cops are after him, he goes on the run and he kills himself. He literally makes like a ritual circle around it, all kinds of blood ritual thing. I don't remember
this.
And he dies.
So good at blocking shit out.
Really.
Yeah, will not let me sleep.
King. What was his name? I thought he was the most prolific. They said he was the most. He did it in a. Where was it? That's not, because I don't think it's him. Anyways, yeah, it's not Dahmer either. What was that article? Come on. Anyways, yeah, he killed himself in a ritual fashion. And they think it's like, so he could try and survive on and all that serial killer satanic jazz. Yeah. Do you think that there's a book directly following this story up?
That's the only thing. The only true sort of sequel is that Wolves of Calla.
Okay, yeah. Oh well.
But that's the only sort of the closest thing to a sequel that's been written.
Do you feel good? I know we didn't go super, but I feel like we did
I feel good.
Job.
I feel like there isn't like super. This book isn't super deep.
Yeah, it's just fun. Like you said, it's a great read.
It was a fun read. It is a great Halloween read. Especially because I actually see why they would make a Halloween movie for this. Yeah. Like, it's set in October. The whole town gets turned into vampires.
It feels fall. I don't know how to... it just feels fall. And there's not even a pumpkin spice lattes.
I would like to watch the Salem lot trailer. We can either do it...
You want to do it now? We'll do it on his computer.
We could do it now.
Let's do it on this computer. We'll end out there.
I don't know if
Oh, spoilers for the show.
Well, no. It's a movie, I think, and I don't know if you would want a camera or not.
Nah, it's okay.
Okay.
We're at the end of an hour and a half. Whoever's here
let's
is
do it.
here.
I have to like.
I've always written stories about things that are so terrible. You'll run away so your brain won't remember.
So why did you come back?
I'm here for research.
What exactly
Okay.
though are you researching?
Ben Mears, Susan.
I like the town. Town feels accurate. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
That's gotta be our
Yeah.
the shining boy.
Danny Glick. Or is that Mark Petrie?
No, I think that's shining boy seeing what's happening.
Nah. There's Father Callahan.
Yeah. Ah, that's
Oh,
funny. I
there's-
pictured him older than like a big, ugly dude.
No, he was depicted as being a good-looking guy.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I forgot. There, that's cool.
I told you. That's Mark Petrie. I told you that the other kid's probably Danny Glick. Danny's mom.
Yeah. I forgot. That's funny.
Mark
But who's he
Petrie.
supposed to be? Mark Petrie? This
Yeah.
is Petrie's family? Alright. There's one change. There you go.
Oh,
okay.
that's Father Callahan?
If we don't fight back, they'll come for us eventually.
Things have gone bad in the lot now.
Ah. That's cool. We just read that quote. That was from Callahan. Look at the moon coming through. That was beautiful. Very cool.
Okay, there's some changes. Yeah, it might be Miss Curless. They might have made her the housekeeper lady.
Ah, okay.
So is it a show? I was wrong.
Yeah, I thought it was a show.
My bad.
Do you think it's all out? We could binge it? I wonder how that works.
So
We'll see,
I
we don't
guess
even have HBO
there's,
Max, we gotta
there's
figure
been
out.
some changes.
Oh.
But that's kind of cool.
It looked pretty
I have a feeling
true to form.
that the lady in the backseat is Miss Curless, the priest's house
Oh, okay.
lady.
That's
Because
cool.
that or but it would be kind of weird for Mark Petrie's mom to be
Yeah, no.
like part of all of this. I think the kid with the glasses has to be Mark Petrie.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the psychic.
I'm
kid.
tempted to look up the characters casting just to see. I mean, we're not gonna watch this show for like.
We should soon. I don't know when. You're right. How do you spell Petrie? I mean, it's gotta be him. I mean, of course it's him. He was having like psychic visions. Oh, there's an older show that's right.
What?
Yeah, yeah.
This is ridiculous.
Don't look up too much because I already saw people talking about it. Like, what's different? Oh, this and that
Oh.
happens, and
No, but I mean, I just wanted the casting, and I got
Yeah.
it. So that's supposed to be Dr. Cody, the
Hmm.
doctor that falls on the knives.
yeah. Oh, okay.
That's what I mean. I'm
Yeah.
not trying to find. I just literally wanted to
No, I
see
know.
the
I'm saying you'll find it by
castings.
accident. Recommended stories and shit.
I don't know how I feel. Yeah. So that kid with the glasses was Mark Petrie.
Yeah.
Here, I'll put it over here so you can. I have a way to show you.
Yeah. Okay, Matthew Burke.
Yeah. Oh, that's the
Okey-doke.
teacher. Okay.
Yeah. He looks
My
like
bad.
it. I'll
Yeah,
take
it does. That's a good casting for the teacher.
Yeah.
That is a creepy casting for Richard Straker. That works. Yeah, the first kid was Danny Glick.
Yeah.
This Mike Ryerson, that's the groundskeeper. He is described as being a good-looking kid. He just dropped out of. He keeps being in and out of college.
Okay.
Father Callahan. I'm gonna be a little creeped out by these Ruthie Crockett scenes.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Drive-in movie. Danny Glick, my dog, going on a killing spree.
Floyd Tibbetts.
Yeah,
That's
look
the
at Officer
ex-boyfriend.
Nolly. That's funny.
That's accurate.
Um,
Oh, who'd they put for the actual
look, little girl vampire. That's funny. Townsfolk.
Ava Miller? That's a good casting for Ava Miller. I would say that's accurate. That's the way I pictured her, kinda.
Where are you seeing that?
She's right. No, right there. That one, the blonde one, no, above there. It's so under the name, under the big name is the character
Yeah,
name.
yeah. I still don't see it. I don't know why.
What? She was right next to Keanu Ham.
Okay, Jesus. Okay. Yeah.
Where's the actual?
I'm telling
Forget
you.
Officer Nolly. Where's the actual other cop?
Yeah, I know, right? That's what I was trying to.
Kurt
I
Barlow.
forgot his name.
That's a great Barlow.
Man, how do you see these people? Oh, look at Straker.
I
Where is it?
can't
I
find
can't find.
the actual officer. What's
Yeah, me
his?
neither. It's not just this guy, Constable.
Yeah, wait. Where's Constable?
It's up top, the first row. Constable Parkin, right? Yeah.
Oh, so that's not Kurt Barlow. He's both characters.
No.
It says here Kurt Barlow. Who is Barlow?
I don't know. Don't look it up. What if it's a surprise?
Okay.
Leave it a surprise.
That's true. Oh, you know what? It probably hasn't been introduced or whatever.
Oh, that's true. If it's a
'Cause you don't meet
seasonal
Barlow
show.
right away.
Yeah, yeah. That's cool. We're gonna just watch it.
That'd be
We'll-
cool.
We'll catch up to it. All right. I think we should close
Look at
it
me.
out.
Someone's gonna hear this and be like, "That girl has no idea how TV
How
castings
TVs
work."
were back in my day. You could tell we're reading old books and shit.
Someone
and
help
playing
that
old
girl.
video games. We're very out of the loop with the baby.
Someone help that
Even on
child,
how
please.
TV works. But I
She
think we're
lives
good.
under a rock.
I'm excited for our next one. Honing
I
Hill
am
House. We'll
too.
get to Dracula one day. Bram Stoker's. I do love it. And but we'll see.
Oh shoot! Didn't your mom say that she signed up for Max or something?
No, I think it's included with something. I forget
Oh,
what.
I think it's included with my Prime.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll look into that. We're gonna close this out while you go do some research on where to watch this. Right? Like, subscribes, all that stuff really helps us out.
It really does.
We'll see you
We
in
hope you
the
enjoyed.
next one. Yeah, bye.
Bye.